As if this couldn't get any worse for the Bruins with the 8 or 9 straight losses here. The biggest story in the NHL is Jim Montgomery's St. Louis Blues. The Blues have won 10 in a row. 10 in a row. They are going to be in the playoffs. They have the number 1 wild card spot in the Western Conference right now. Just 1 point ahead of the second spot there, but they are comfortably ahead of Vancouver and Calgary. They are going to be in the playoffs. Jim Montgomery is coaching in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, and the Bruins, the team that fired him earlier this year in November, is going to be picking in the top 5. And if that wasn't bad enough, you just look at the last 2 coaches they fired. GMs don't usually make it through 3 or 4 coaches. They usually don't make it through 2. Don Sweeney is about to, at the end of this season, fire his fourth coach for the Bruins and is going to survive it. And the last 2, Bruce Cassidy, the first year he's out of Boston, wins the Stanley Cup. And Jim Montgomery, first couple of months out of Boston, is probably going to win the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year, which is just mind-numbingly fucking terrible for the Boston Bruins. And it's just another sign of why Don Sweeney, and probably Cam Neely as well, should not make it through the end of this season. It won't happen. The Jacobs family won't fire him. But can we use just a modicum of goddamn common sense here? When you look at the underperformance and the failures here, and you can say, is it the GM or is it the head coach? You've scapegoated the head coach one too many times, because the only constant through all of this is Don Sweeney. And if that isn't glaring enough, the other constant is these coaches go on to do great things directly after leaving the Bruins. You know, Vegas was all too happy to jump on the Bruce Cassidy train within a week of him getting fired. And St. Louis fired their coach in order to sign Montgomery to a 5-year deal right away after he was shit-canned by the Bruins. And he's going to get them into the playoffs. He's going to win the Jack Adams. They're 16-2-2 since the Four Nations break and have catapulted into this playoff position. And lo and behold, they are second in the NHL this year in 5-on-5 shooting percentage. And here are the Bruins. They can't generate anything 5-on-5. And that wouldn't be a problem other than the fact that they fucking suck on both special teams as well. So the Bruins, as to recap, are not good 5-on-5. They're not good 4-on-5. They're not good 5-on-4. They're not good 6-on-5. They're not good 5-on-6. But other than that, they're perfectly fine. And it's great that Jim Montgomery is coaching in St. Louis and bringing the Blues to the playoffs. Well done, Bruins brass. Well done, Don Sweeney. Well done, Cam Neely. And above all, well done, Jacobs family, for putting your vote of confidence in these schmucks as the rest of the league gets better because the Bruins suck. And if we flash it back to November, by the way, I was okay with Jim Montgomery's firing. I think there were some questions around the head coach and his style and the message that he was getting to the players. But at the same time, I was saying this should only be the first domino. They need to completely revamp the front office. But this is good enough for them, cratering out. By the way, Buffalo won last night. The Bruins lost in regulation. Who's the worst team in the Eastern Conference? Who is at the goddamn basement of the Eastern Conference? Yours, mine, our Boston Bruins, baby. And there's no guarantee they're even going to get the number 1 pick. They'll be picking in the top 5. James Higgins is now a real possibility. Michael Meese is a possibility. But at this point, you're looking at them tanking next year, too. They're that bad. And meanwhile, nobody in the NHL wants to face the St. Louis Blues in the first round. And the Vegas Golden Knights have just as good a chance as anybody to win the cup again with your old head coaches. Like, it's I've said it before with people of my generation especially, but really Boston sports fans going back a long time. Like, you've got to go back a long time to have like truly inept ownership in this city, right? You got to go back to the Billy Sullivan days with the Patriots. Like, you've got to go back over 40 years, right? And I always really feel for those fans who just have shit owners and can't do anything about it, right? I mean, owners like, fans like the Oakland A's fans, or even to some extent the Dallas Cowboys fans, who just like, you just wait for them to die because there's nothing else. You can't get them to sell the team, and they have no interest in making the team better. We might be hitting that with the Jacobs family here soon, who have obviously had a great run of success as the owner of the Boston Bruins. And I've had a great childhood with this team, right? The last 15, almost 20 years here. It's been great. Only one cup, but still, they've been successful all the time, right? It's tough to complain. But this thing is just careening south. It is going so poorly right now. And the ownership has already told you, we're not going to make changes. Like, we're about to finish last in the Eastern Conference and pick in the top 5. But they're telling you, the fans, that's okay. That's good enough. We've got a front office that fucked up this operation so bad that it got to this, that we had to trade everybody and we're going to finish bottom of the conference. But we trust those guys to get it right. Like, in what other industry, in what other business, in what other walk of life does that happen? Genuinely, how does that happen? Like, you hire a dietitian personal trainer and you get so fucking fat, you have to have quadruple bypass surgery to save your life. And then you're like, but I trust this guy to get me back in shape after that. Like, how fucking brain dead is that? And the Bruins are just going to keep rolling with it. And, I like what they got in the returns for the trade deadline. They've got this Zellers kid who just set the goals record, single season goals record in the USHL. He's going to play some college hockey, but he looks like a heck of a prospect. You're going to be picking in the top 5. You've also got Toronto's first round pick this year. And yet, who is making the call? Who is making the decision here? Do you trust that guy with anything? With literally anything? He's not good at recognizing talent. He's not good at drafting. He's not good at signing free agents. He's not good at keeping his players happy. He's not good at selecting coaches or knowing when to fire them. But other than that, he's a dynamite general manager. So let's just keep rolling with it. Jim Montgomery should shove it down their fucking throats. And if they somehow win the cup this year, he should bring it back to Boston just to rub it in. Not to the Bruins fans, but to this front office. He should have his day with the cup inside the TD Garden, at Warrior Ice Arena, wherever you can find Don Sweeney's office. And tell him, fuck you. You're never going to have this, man. You screwed it up. Because Bruce Cassidy could have done the same thing. It's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. They're doing the things that we want them to right now, right? They suck. They're losing. They've even lost a couple of tight ones the last few games. Not even getting embarrassed. They're going to tank. The tank is on. But the fact that these roaches, Don Sweeney and the great Cam Neely, are going to survive another nuclear explosion is unfathomable to me. Unfathomable. We thought the inmates were running the asylum, but it's not. It's just these crooked security guards, Don Sweeney and Cam Neely, that have just pulled the wool so far over the Jacobs family's eyes. And that even though they're not going to get the playoff ticket gate, which is all they care about, they're going to let this continue. Any NFL team doing this, we would destroy them. There would be sell the team chants. There would be paper bags inside their games. And Bruins fans are apparently not allowed to do that because they've been good for a long time. even though the ownership is telling you that we're going to stick with the guys that got this to an untenable situation. We're going to stick with those guys. We want those guys running our team. If I did a hunger strike for when the Bruins were going to win another game, I would fucking die. I would be dead. If I had started if I had started that after the Panthers game, what was that, 3 weeks ago? They haven't won a game since? Have they even picked up a point since? Do we know that? I don't know if they have. I don't know if they've done that. I think they've lost all in regulation. And meanwhile, the Blues, 10 wins in a row. Jim Montgomery absolutely revolutionizing hockey in that city. They love his play style. They love the guy. Good for him. Good for him. He's absolutely crushing it out there. They love him. And here are the Bruins, literally in the basement of the Eastern Conference with 69 points. Not nice. Not nice. 69 points and losers of 6 in a row, 1-8-1 in their last 10. So they did pick up a point somewhere along the way there. In St. Louis, 89 points, absolutely on a tear. 10-0-0 in their last 10. I mean, could you actually write a worse season for this team, for this organization, for this fan base? What a joke. But good news. Season ticket prices going up next year. You got that to look forward to, Bruins. So here's the thing. Your ownership does not give a shit if the team wins or loses. They've shown that to a certain extent their entire time owning the team, that they want to be just good enough to make the playoffs and get a few extra playoff ticket gates. But to counteract that this year, when they're not going to make the playoffs, they're just going to jack up regular season prices. Who doesn't want the experience of going to the Garden and watching this team play? Or if not, if you can't make it to the Garden, how about you pay $30 a month for Nesson to watch this dog shit and Charlie Moore outdoors? It's a joke. This organization has become a joke within about a year, like pretty quickly here. And by the way, there's excitement on these new jerseys. I love these new jerseys, but guess what? They're doing that for one reason. So you'll pay $250 a pop. And I'll be the fucking sucker who does it. It's sad. It's sad what has happened to this team. How they railroaded Jim Montgomery. They railroaded Bruce Cassidy. And those guys are just rubbing it in their faces. Rubbing it in their faces. And if Florida wins the Stanley Cup, God forbid, you want to talk about rubbing it in somebody's face. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. About 90% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. We're bringing you nothing but Boston sports content, plus my hunger strike until Rafi Devers gets a single base hit every weekday, live at high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel discussing the Bruins and everything else going on in the world of Boston sports.